Aloha Cupcakes. Today we're going to work with the DiVinci 706 scrolling brush. This is a German manufactured squirrel hair scrolling brush and it's super fat. And here, take a look at it. So one of the first things, and I mean the first thing, once I get this thing paletted to where I feel comfortable with it, I pull the fattest line I've ever pulled with a scrolling brush. Like, I meant to squeegee that off a little bit. That seems excessive. Also, it's a little hard to control with this thing being an extra half-inch longer than every other brush I have. So this thing is, I think it's 2 3/4 inch. No, 2 2 1/4 inch length from the ferrule all the way to the tip, and it gets real fat right in the middle. So it does have a short and very sharp tip to it. It's just that the tip's very short. Like it tapers very quickly. So this is gonna take a little work. So yeah, we squeegee it off. I add more paint to it. And let's see if I can get this thing to do something more productive. So with it being a little bit longer, I have to hold my hand out a little bit further. And yes, I could choke up a little bit more on that ferrule, but I don't think that actually would help. This is a very fat brush, and it is not cooperating with me here. And let's try a couple of long, smooth lines, see if that does it a little bit better. Okay, I like that one. So smooth lines for like the longer, just a longer curve to it without it being that tight scroll type of thing. Does really well, especially when you want it to like fade out gently. So those are fine. I could deal with those. Let's see if I can get a couple of tighter turns with it. Yeah, that is gloppy. Okay, so the tighter stuff, I'm not really doing well with this. And it could just be me. I don't spend too terribly much time doing swirlies, but seems a lot tougher to do with this brush than I think I've ever had it with any of the other brushes. And I'm not 100% sure on this one. Let's try a couple of these. You know what? Let's get a bigger surface. I don't think that this is going to work on the smaller stuff. It's still just doing that. So, bigger panel. And yes, you've seen this before in another video. Not my video. My friend Christina got herself a pinstriping class, and hers is the light blue lines. So, let's try this on here. Let's see if this works a little bit better. Okay, here we are. I think I see where we are going with this one. It is a thicker, fatter brush, thusly it needs to do thicker, bigger lines. So, you know, if I should ever find myself pinstriping a Winnebago again. Oh yeah, this thing pulls some long lines. I like that. That is cozy. Okay, let's see if I can work with this one. So this is a German squirrel hair brush, and the hairs on this thing are very coarse in comparison to a lot of the other scrolling brushes that I have. That's the very few that are not synthetic. And it definitely has some flop going on with it. I mean, it weighs down and it doesn't really, it needs to be dragged in order for it to actually pull anything. So riding on the very tip of this thing's not really the best way to get it to flow evenly. But it kind of rolls over on itself if you're trying to pull any tight turns with it. I'm going to say this one is, I mean, because it'll fade out to these sharp lines. I like the way that it does it. It's just, see how this works. I mean, it's not super inconsistent, but it is definitely not how I would normally do this kind of stuff. So if you're familiar with like the Wizard Typhoon brushes, this is similar shape to it, and it looks like it would behave like it. It just doesn't. Now, I think once I've got the right position with it, I'm able to pull some normal swirlies with it, but they're a whole lot bigger than whatever it would be that I would do this on. So it's a bit of a learning curve, I guess. So I just have to be able to pull bigger, fatter designs with this thing, and it seems to work okay. It's just, that's a lot bigger. Like, I suppose if I was going to scroll on like a window, like a shop window or something, but I wouldn't be using this helmet. I wouldn't be using this on like motorcycle helmets or tanks or even, I mean, I guess if the fairing's big enough, it might work. I don't think I'd be comfortable doing that on something smaller than a gold wing. Of course, the only time I ever do scrolling on a bike is on a gold wing, so I guess that makes sense. Like, I may need to trim this tip a little bit just to get it to where it's just right. Now this, yeah, it's still doing that thing where it kind of folds over on itself, and it's really kind of floppy. And I may need to actually reduce this paint down a little bit more because it could be drying out on me a little. Oh, no, it's not. It is definitely not. Okay, I take that back. We're gonna squeegee this off a little bit. And that's still gooey. All right, so I guess what I would say about this brush is that it holds a ton of paint, and depending on what you're doing, that might be useful, and that might be a severe hindrance because you really have to pay attention with this one. Now, I think I can, if I squeegee it out and I really try to work the tip of it, I think I could still pull some fairly tight lines, but I don't think these are going to be, yeah, I don't know that these are going to be my, this is definitely not going to be my go-to for this unless I'm, I don't know, painting the side of a school bus. I guess if I was going to do a school bus, then yeah, by all means, this is definitely something for that because these are going to be the big fat stripes that need to be seen from 20 feet away. And if that's the job, then yeah, this is the correct brush for that. But if you have to do some tight details, not really thinking to use this one for that. I mean, it's a clean brush. It's a lot floppier than I like them to be. It doesn't have that snap that a synthetic would have. And I don't know. I mean, depending on what you're into, like that might be the right style of brush. I know that for me, this is not how I normally like to work with a scrolling brush because it fades out and it goes into too thick of a line to too thin of a line. It's just not. I need a little bit more of a medium level of control as opposed to this drastic thing. But the line quality comes out of this thing fairly well. I didn't have to do too much in terms of reducing and such, and it just kind of flows really evenly. It's really just getting the tip to rest where you want it to. Or not rest, you know what I meant. All right, then. So, with any luck, this answers questions that you had. I know that it was a different experience for me, for sure. Let me know what you think about this one. Because, yeah, I'm still working on it. I like it, but I don't know if I love it. Till the next one, stay moist, my friends.